What's that?
Huh? Oh, that's nothing. That's just a car chase with a satellite feed from Milwaukee.
You know what? Give it to me live to start the broadcast.
No, that's not news, Ron.
Give it to me live, okay? And don't question me again.
All right, remember this funny scene from Anchorman 2? What's not so funny is the fact that the decision the character Anchorman Ron Burgundy made to air a police chase instead of covering more important issues actually happens every day in corporate news.
You're listening to the Ovis Podcast with Tracy Grant.
Welcome, everyone, to the Ovis Podcast. I'm Ovis founder Linton Johnson, filling in for Tracy Grant. We at Ovis are building the future of news. Our mission is to end fake news by incentivizing the truth. Today's topic, how they choose the news. A look at how corporate media decides what they feel is fit to print. My guest today is Ovis Chief Development Officer Dominic Thomas. Hi, Dominic. How are you?
Hey, Linton. How you doing?
We're going to get to that, get to you in a moment here, but I wanted to play another funny scene from Anchorman 2, which spoofs the typical newsroom. As a longtime journalist, this scene, I'm just telling you, Dominic, is not too far from the truth. I'm going to get your reaction once we play the tape.
Why can't we just tell them what they want to hear?
Wait. Say that again?
I said, why do we have to tell the people what they need to hear? Why can't we just tell them what they want to hear?
And what do they want to hear, Ron?
That we live in the greatest country God ever created.
Damn straight!
Made him happy.
And we should do stories on patriots. Cute, funny little animals, huh? Diets. Why blondes have more fun.
Why can't we tell them just what they want to hear? That's the mantra there. Dominic, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's as you're going through and we're showing different parts of the movie, it's almost starting to look like a documentary. It's ridiculous that a movie that's so over the top, right? And it's the point. It's supposed to be just outrageous. Ron Burgundy's an absolute idiot, but tell them what they want to hear, right? That's what everybody's doing now. As long as it's controversial or it agrees with your viewpoint and it sits in your news feed and makes you feel smart and like you have all the answers, great. There you go. Ratings and clicks, baby.
It's always about ratings and clicks. That's the biggest problem with the news right now. I think what I find interesting about this is that when I was in the newsroom for a long time as an anchor at NBC and other stations across the country, most recently at NBC in San Francisco Bay Area. And, I remember my bosses basically saying, just tell them this is what the audience wants. And I think the problem with that is that it may be what the audience wants, but it's not everything that the audience wants. And when you only have a limited time, what they tend to do is go for the most ratings and clicks versus what everything, telling the stories that everybody wants to hear. I mean, there are some stories that may not get as much ratings and clicks, but there are a lot of people who want it. And they're going to just skip over those and put just the highest ratings and clicks stories on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that, what you're speaking to there is in every profession, if you think about it, there's some thread, some element of the profession that as a professional, as someone who's passionate and really cares about what you're doing, that you do basically for free because it's the right thing to do. For example, I was in medicine for a long time. We do pro bono work. Just like legal, it's also common with attorneys. We're blessed to have that relationship with Kramer Levinson. Correct me?
Yeah, Kramer Levin, law firm, which took us on. Yeah, which is a great company and a great law firm, which took us on as a pro bono client because, again, this is what people need. They know that's why they're doing it.
Right, and it's the right thing to do to offer access. To your expertise. And so, that pro bono work we do for patients who don't have insurance, right? We're supposed to help fill the gaps in society, right? There's a connectedness to that. There's a service element that's so crucial to the the meaning, right, that you get from it at the end of the day. You know, you feel great when you do some of this work and know that you just helped somebody who, you know, had no shot if you didn't do it. You didn't step in. So we need more of that, right? You know,
Yeah.
yeah, it's not ratings and clicks, but man, that's the professional duty. Is democracy worth it to you? How much
Yeah,
money is that
right.
worth? I don't know, but I don't want to live in a fascist state.
Well, there
That
was,
sucks. It's a hard price to pay.
and you know, it kind of harkens back to the day when there were only three networks, but you know, those network newscasts, they sometimes lost money, and but they were doing the public good, right? They're doing a
Mhm.
public service. And the reason why the networks didn't care that they lost money is because they had a heart at that time. They had a soul, I think, and they wanted to put on quality programming that really moved our democracy forward and really helped society move forward and help solve critical problems. And then all their other shows. That were entertainment driven, they made so much money that they kind of filled in the gaps for the news shows. And I'm not suggesting we want to lose money, but I don't want to lose my democracy. And I
Right.
don't want to lose those important stories, because if we lose our democracy, then we lose everything. I mean, it doesn't even
It's
matter how much
everything.
money you have. Yeah.
No, it won't. You know, unless you're the chosen dictator, I guess.
Right. I mean, it kind of harkens back to some of the things I hear from the millennials that say, you know, it's the environment, the environment, the environment. And, you know, they say, if you don't have a planet, then there's nothing else. Well, I
Mhm.
feel like maybe we're just the next level up from that. If you don't have a democracy, there's also nothing else. I mean, you need a planet first in order to have a democracy. But then if you don't have a democracy, you don't really have any structure or whatever. At least not a free society. So,
And isn't that funny how they work together? Because I think you're
yeah.
absolutely right. There is a layered element to that, you know, analogy that you're talking about, right? So the Earth has to be functional for life, right? Great, and so it does that, and then eventually it produces human beings, and then human beings have this consciousness and become stewards effectively. And so long as we kind of play our role appropriately, you know, we kind of protect and you know, act as a conservationist essentially of planet Earth, make sure it's there for future generations and all that good stuff. You're not going to get that without a democracy, baby.
Right.
Fascists they don't have strong environmental records. Okay. Like, be honest, right? Look at China in a
Yeah.
sense, like how they grew. They just went coal. Screw it.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
like we just need to grow. Doesn't matter. They've got entire towns that are like you're smoking a pack of butts with every step. You know, I mean, it's nuts. You know, I know they've done a little bit better, but you know, it's crazy. So, yeah.
I mean, human rights, right? Like,
Oh
if I
yeah.
need to get a project done for the emperor, whatever his name is, you know, it doesn't matter who's in the way as long as it meets the key.
No,
Yeah.
we're gonna lose about 10,000 people. They're gonna
Yeah.
die under the working conditions. We'll send all their wives and families flowers. They'll love it.
Yeah.
And
But I
it's
got my
nuts.
project. Well, you know, at the root of this problem right now is the business model of ratings and clicks. And, you know, Ovis is attempting to solve this by incentivizing the truth.
Mhm.
Dominic, how do you think Ovis will change this dynamic when we launch?
Well, that's really we'll say like the magic here, right? It's that we're using these new technologies like a blockchain for verification and timestamps that's going to ensure that whatever went through our process and was published, you know, stays that way, kind of a version control permanently, so that because that happens, people don't realize that, but you know, articles get edited after the fact. New versions get put out, old ones get pulled down. But specifically, it's the incentive program, right? You know, that was your vision, right? That's the brilliance. That's what attracted me to the project to work with you on this and dedicate my life to it at this stage. You have to change the incentives. You can't just moralize it, right? Like we were talking about earlier. We're making good arguments for why you should do it, but that's not enough.
Right.
You do the right things, not a strategy.
Right.
Right? Because do the right
Right.
thing starts to look worse and worse as the pile of money over here gets bigger and bigger.
Right.
Do the right
Right.
thing, get $1 million. This isn't so bad if I don't tell this story, is it?
Right.
I
Right.
mean, that's going to change my life. Yeah. Problem is, you want another million next week and next week and next week and next week, right? And it degrades over time, right? This didn't happen overnight. I'm sure you were there, right?
Oh, yeah.
Talk about that, right? It's a gradual erosion of everybody's standards. The standards of the individuals, the journalists that are on the beat, that are, getting their asses kicked, and they think they wrote a brilliant story and it's getting no views online. And then some punk, that just joined the team, who's 23, fresh out of college, writes a top 5 list of, I don't know, lip balms, and it blows up.
Yeah.
And you're like, what's going on? I just exposed like a mafia ring underneath the Capitol of the United States of America, and no one gives a shit,
Well,
so
it's usually the top 5 things that can kill you.
Yeah.
It's always something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I
Beer,
think what
yeah,
happens in
sex.
right. I think what happens in the newsroom is like you got a paycheck, and you have a family, and your boss says they want you to cover this, and you say no, I don't want to cover. You can't say no. You say, well, how about this, right? And then they say no, and you go, okay, so let me think. If I'm going to fight this, I could lose my job. So I will do the best job I can to tell as much truth as possible under the conditions that I'm under right now. And and then those conditions continuously get worse, and you keep trying to figure out, all right, how do I keep justifying what I'm doing? How do I keep justifying what I'm doing?
It's the slippery slope, right? That's exactly the quintessential slippery slope.
Yeah.
It just gets more and more slippery the farther you go, right?
Yeah. So I have gotten to the point where I just left the media, which is actually a perfect transition because in the movie Anchorman 2, Will Ferrell left the business for a while.
You live in a lighthouse.
Right, he was living in a lighthouse with his dog and pet shark. Remember that stupid pet shark?
He's pretending he's blind or some shit initially too, right?
It's all crazy. But so I'm going to play one more scene from Anchorman 2. It's where he finally comes back to the newsroom after taking all that time off. He's had to think about the life of ratings and clicks and that impact on his life, on his personal life. He gets back on the anchor desk. He's about to cover this car chase, the car chase that led to his success. And now he's back on the anchor desk, and here's what he does.
Good evening, America. After some time off, it's good to be back with you. I'm Ron Burgundy. We have a story tonight involving an affair, a cut-off penis, a TV star, and a car chase.
And throw it to the feed.
The only problem is...
What's he doing?
Ron, are you okay?
It's not news.
What?
Turn off the prompter.
Ron, this is Kench. What the hell do you think you're doing, mate? Just read what's in front of you, or I will ruin you. Don't you leave Kench inside your head. God damn it!
He took out his earpiece.
You see, folks, I've read a lot of news in my day, but it's taken me until now to realize what real news is. Real news is supposed to let people know what the powerful are up to so that that power doesn't become corrupt. But what happens when the powerful own the news?
Shit, he's blowing the whole thing.
So that's Will Ferrell talking about how the corporations now own the news and they become the powerful. Who holds them accountable is what he's saying. And I think that really is the big issue. I mean, the corporations have their own agenda. There's what, 6 major corporations that control virtually everything that we see and hear. And so we feel powerless right now. And I started Ovis because I wanted to give people their power back. I want to incentivize truth telling, and I want to share the rewards with people. I want to reward them for telling the truth. Can you tell us how we do that?
Yeah, no, it's right on. You're talking about that feeling of powerlessness. It's corporations are, it's big money politics, right? They spend millions and millions of dollars supporting candidates, by billions by the end of, all of the election cycles or each election cycle. And, back to the incentive thing. So, you're paying these politicians to help them get elected. Then basically they're going to come up with policies that suit your agenda and help you make more money and so forth. So in our situation, we're going, okay, we get it. People need to be rewarded, right, for their hard work and their efforts and energies. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We build a platform. You come to the platform with your great ideas, with the news you want to hear, and a journalist picks that up. Entrepreneurial, freelance, working for themselves, Nobody else that they have to deal with either. They write their story within a time frame, and then we have our fact checkers. They make sure that what is going to go to press, so to speak, is the real deal. It's not garbage, and it has been checked up and down. And then we get a published story, and as that story starts to circulate through the community, if it happens to get shared outside of the Ovis platform, that's fine. Everybody who was involved in the creation of the story, from the people who came up with the ideas to the people who sort of upvoted it with their tokens to the journalists, everybody owns a piece of that story, and so they can continue to benefit from the rewards as the story goes on, through its natural life cycle. And what do we get out of it? Truth.
Right.
We solve it.
And the people in the news versus the powerful.
Exactly.
Right. The people get to control the content. You get to pitch the story ideas. Journalists then take those story ideas and do a great story. It's then fact checked, and then it's put out onto the platform for all of us to see and share. And then everybody's rewarded in the process. And so we all share in the rewards, we share in the incentives, we share in the truth. And ultimately, that's what matters. And that's how we're trying to completely decentralize the news.
Yeah. So, in this process, we're talking about the powerlessness that we all feel, and the corporations being in control of what we see and what we hear. We take that power back. There's hope. This is instant impact, folks. Your story will be published. It'll be right there. That impact is, each story is a victory. Each story is an opportunity to take control of our media, to support good journalists too. Let's not forget that. When you're doing this, you're supporting great journalists, you're supporting fact checkers. We're creating jobs. This is the gig economy, folks, Web 3.0. And we're right there in it, because we have to have an option. And with Ovis, there's a new option that's amazing.
If you want to learn more about how Ovis works, please do join the movement. Go to ovisnews.com. And thank you for watching the Ovis podcast. I'm Linton Johnson, in for Tracy Grant. We'll see you next time.